Farewell, Fort Taco. This is a little commemorating video look at the former Fort Taco, a short-lived independent St. Louis area quick-serve restaurant that lasted about 8 years. And while putting this film together, I noticed a very curious little mystery later in the footage. But first we're going to start with a look at this closed-up Sonic brand drive-in restaurant conveniently next door while I give a rough anecdotal account of a one-time local favorite of fast food fare. While this footage is irrelevant to the topic at hand, it's still interesting to see up close and provides a little bonus to the film as a tag-along, as it is not quite enough for its own video. Additionally, this extra footage helps provide extra dialogue time for talking about Fort Taco if I don't waste all of it explaining this to the viewer with unnecessarily extensive sentences. This film looks at the flagship location on Manchester Road in Brentwood, Missouri, made up of a former Rally's double drive-thru location victimized by the Great Recession of 2008. That is, I should say, going to look at it after a couple more minutes of looking at this unremarkably shuttered since 2019 Sonic, of which I have not bothered learning anything else about, due to personal apathy of interest in the more corporate side of the food service industry. But I digest. Rally's still exists as a regional brand name of a dual-market expedient eating enterprise along with Checkers, sort of like Hardee's, brought to you by Carl's Jr. They pay me every time I say that. The restaurant business is tough, as everyone knows, and Fort Taco was a noble effort that might have endured with a little less zeal and a bit better luck. There were a total of 4 locations, but they maxed out at 3 open at any one time. Not that I'm one to judge necessarily, but I think this was a case of expansion over ambition once again, especially given the restaurateur experience level of the proprietor, a factor which can be surmountable with enough money and will, but those things can't always be guaranteed to be available. Alright, that's enough of that. Here's my don't hold me to this story of Fort Taco. This first store, and until just now I didn't know there ever were any others, was opened November 2014 and lasted until 2022. From what I understand, the family who started the Fort Taco originally immigrated to St. Louis from an exotic region, the mysterious land called Iowa, where big fat puffy taco shells were a big thing, and they brought this custom of culinary culture with them. When they first started, they offered only 2 menu items, tacos and vegan enchiladas, but quickly added chicken taco options and tamales. Their big puffy taco shells were different and a big hit, leading to a bit of a cult following, at least for a while. They made them fresh daily themselves, but they were like exaggerated versions of Taco Bell gorditas with less structural integrity, the sort of thing I'd hesitate to eat in the car. I did try this place once, probably around 2015 or 16, and I remember it being pretty good, but big, unwieldy, and pricey, which is likely why I only went once. I found several articles of various openings and closings of expansion attempts over the years in Florissant, the Chesterfield Mall food court, and a spot on Elm Street in St. Charles. The first didn't function in practice as they envisioned or hoped. The mall location had predictably too low of traffic and lasted less than a year, and reviews of the St. Charles location stopped in 2018. But this original flagship store in Brentwood ran the whole gamut until the bitter end that wasn't entirely their fault. The business was crushed by not only that pesky pandemic problem, but also by the fact that shortly after, this major thoroughfare was completely closed just before the next intersection for major, decades-needed structural repair that took many months to complete. This effectively put Fort Taco at the end of a dead-end street everyone was detouring their commutes around, and it just wasn't enough of a destination to survive that. I bet it was exciting fun, though, for a while, trying your own hand at building your own little brand thing from scratch, like playing Ray Kroc Simulator, and it's a shame it didn't work out. They always sounded hopeful and optimistic despite their troubles and confessions of trying to figure things out in the interviews I saw. So anyway, here are to the memories of those who saw this angle from their car windows once upon a time. A last longing look at what soon will only be visible in documented media like this. This is how I found it on this lovely September morning in 2023, breached, but otherwise appearing frozen in time like the day everything was dropped like a hat. What I cannot figure out, however, is just how can we see the 15-year-old Rally's label scar on the awning, because if you look through pictures over recent years on the internet, this whole building, including the awnings, are gray for the 5 years it was mothballed and on the market. If these awnings were swapped out during that time, why would anyone switch them back to these old dingy ones? If the old awnings were painted gray, how on earth did they get the paint off to where this old label scar can be seen again? Did the property company put gray awnings over this old one just for curb appeal to sell it and then took them back after the sale? The world may never know. Thank you for watching.